Hello, I am Randy Cryle, and these are my inflatable toilets, and I am a wimpy 100-mile ultra-marathoner. By the way, I am from the Dayton, Ohio region, proudly wearing my local Beaver Creek, Ohio cross-country hat, and my Dave Chappelle Dayton Shines t-shirt. Recently, I had an opportunity to be on a podcast focused on runners' mindsets. So the podcast was based in this idea of how to be a badass runner. And I don't even think of myself that way. But before I started the podcast, I had about 5 pages of random thoughts written down, and since I liked the topic so much, I thought, why not just make a little video about mindset? I am 57, will be 58 in August, and have run approximately 60 ultramarathons over the past 8.5 years. Typically, I'm wearing Huarache style sandals and no socks. So oftentimes I get accused of being kind of a badass, which I laugh about that, and I try to explain why I'm not. So diving into this mindset theme, I would say my basic philosophy is that anything worth doing is worth doing less than perfectly, and running is virtually always something worth doing, as it's really just an expression of what we are at our primal core. Everything about us is designed in such a way as to help us become very proficient at covering long distances on our feet. I've found that for me, the most powerful mindset ideas are rooted in Albert Einstein's quantum physics ideas. But to keep it really simple, I like to use the skunk smells good concept. Try this sometime. The next time you find a dead skunk or whatever, you're smelling a skunk, take a deep breath through your nose and repeat over and over, or out loud or just in your mind, I love the smell of skunk. And it will work. You can convince yourself that you don't mind at all. In fact, you even think it smells really pretty good. So I've found that this skunk smelled good idea can help in my running. I can convince myself that I love running in ice, cold water, mud, over rocks, roots, mountains, humidity, extreme heat. Whatever it is, embrace it. So what does the science say? First of all, everything in the universe is energy. Everything in the universe would include our thoughts and our feelings, which do have measurable frequencies. Each of us can view ourselves as the energy field that we are within a universal energy field, and we can begin to consciously manage our thoughts and feelings. Atoms are made up of energy. So we can think of our role as being to attract and create as much high frequency energy as possible. I know that I can take myself from a state of dis-ease to ease, but it can take a whole lot of self-discipline, energy, and focus. How do we attract higher frequency energy? Pretty simple. The best place to start is with the positive emotion and thoughts of gratitude. Even if we have very little, but we're appreciative of that, we're more likely to attract more of that. So we write our own story. The basic creative process is ask, believe, receive. So if you would like to run a 100-mile foot race or any distance, simply ask the universe to help you find the wisdom and energy to do so. Believe that you can do it with, passion, feeling, and then pretend like you've already got it in your mind and receive it. Do it. Your emotions are very powerful here. It's important to try to keep them positive, higher frequency. Higher frequency is more powerful, so everything is energy and everything is connected. So we can sort of forget about out there and in here. Everything's connected. When you're out there running, realize that everything you see, feel, touch, smell, it's alive. Us humans are the greatest technology in the universe. It's our thoughts and feelings that give us this amazing power to put our own lives into an upward spiral or completely change the earth. Runners should agree that health is wealth, although money is also merely a form of energy. One of my favorite mantras, often used during an ultramarathon, would be abundance flows frequently and easily to and from me. By the way, prayers are thoughts, therefore thoughts are prayers. What we focus on, whatever you want to call it, especially if we use higher frequency emotions and thoughts, we're more likely to attract that. I like to think of emotions as amplifiers. They build more power into the creative process. And our hearts are smart. Our heart is intuitive, probably leads our brain and thoughts more than we realize. Approximately every 7 years, the vast majority of the cells in our body, estimated to be about 30 trillion with a T cells in our bodies, are replaced. So physically, you're a new person every few years, and every single one of those 30 trillion cells has approximately 100 trillion atoms. My little brain doesn't add up that high, but each of the protons, neutrons, and electrons in those atoms, those are forms of energy. So each of us is truly unique. It's miraculous. The life we have should be revered and respected. As a runner, I have a choice. I can choose to live with disease or diseases, or I can try to split that into two words, dis and ease. Who actually believes that our purpose in this universe is to live with dis-ease? Years ago, I believe in the 1990s, Dennis Waitley was involved in a project called VMR, which stands for Visual Motor Rehearsal. Olympic athletes were asked to go through their routines, their regimen, just in their minds while they were attached to high-tech equipment. The discovery there was that the brain hardly knows the difference between virtual and reality. The idea being, of course, is if you go someplace in your mind, you're more likely to actually go there in reality. So say at a 100-mile race, for weeks, months, or longer, I'm imagining myself not only crossing the finish line, but what does it really feel like? And I can actually pretend like I'm feeling the buckle, the finisher's buckle, going into my hand. Of course, it hasn't worked every time. I've gotten 1,500 milers done, and I have 4 DNFs. But I do like those odds, and it has been quite some time since I've had one of those DNFs. Think about practicing your running with ease. Keep it fun. Remember, Born to Run, and all of the focus on running light, smooth, and easy. While on the Born to Run theme, one of my very favorite parts from that was from Coach Joe Vigil, where he talks about always prioritizing wisdom over wealth. What I think I've come to understand is that living with ease comes from practicing 3 basic variables: right thinking, how we think and feel, healthy nutrition, and healthy motion. So I think of these 3 things. Of course, the nutrition includes thriving on an all plant-based diet, but I think of these 3 legs of the stool, so to speak, as the 3 fountains of youth. And along with this learning process, there's more clarity in the idea that humans exist because we are a cooperative species, a democratic species. Therefore, maybe we should be more focused on sharing than in winning. So these 3 variables, thinking, nutrition, and motion, all are obviously interacting with each other. The healthy motion, the healthy food are absolutely critical to how we feel. Therefore, those feelings impact our thoughts. So basically, how those variables are interacting with each other will likely determine whether or not we're circling the drain and heading down, or creating an upward spiral for ourselves. Back in 2011, at age 49, I decided that on my 50th birthday, I was going to do a do-it-yourself full iron distance triathlon. But on New Year's Eve following that date, I ran a relatively fast 5K in the cold in a very thin pair of sandals. And as I got up to leave after the post-race gathering, my left heel, the upper part of my back of my foot, was in such pain I could barely get back to the car and then in the house. Next day I put my foot in a boot and was obviously kind of consumed with fear, really focused on becoming injury-free. There was no way I was going to be able to accomplish all the sub-goals leading up to the Ironman if I didn't become injury-free. So maybe 3 weeks or so into this, the pain wasn't going away. I was doing very little training, and I thought, I need to stop focusing on being injury-free. I was focused on injury, and I remained injured. I switched that, flipped it to, I'm going to be a healthy, active, happy runner, and swimmer and biker as well. But almost immediately after just changing my focus, I was able to ramp up my training, and ultimately, of course, did the triathlon on my birthday. But that led to pretty much non-stop ultramarathoning, injury-free, healthy, for a good 8.5 years. So the message is obvious. Focus on what you want, minimize thoughts on what you don't want. On a larger scale, think about all of the wars that we've created here in the United States of America. Wars against hunger, drugs, poverty, terror, cancer, etc. These wars, these so-called wars, tend to create more of what they're trying to reduce because the focus is on the negative. We do tend to create more of what we think and feel about. Everything about our design enables us to be great distance runners, hikers, and walkers. So I believe that tapping into that power, that innate ability, it's very powerful and transformational, a goal in and of itself to enjoy that activity. Once I started using the all plant-based diet and the long distance sandal running and realized just how effective, efficient, and powerful it is, I wanted to share that with people. And I thought they'd want to hear it. Well, typically, oftentimes I was wrong about that. Going back to that mantra, I had changed that up for my use a little bit. The idea was to think about how abundance frequently and easily comes to me, but I added "and from me." So the idea was to share what is learned and what's working. Oftentimes, most of the time, people aren't ready. So I like to put this stuff out there. When the student's ready, the teacher will come, and if occasionally I can be the teacher, that's wonderful. Oftentimes when these things are shared, it can be spun as boasting or victim shaming. Regardless, I think there's a great value in seeking the truth and trying to share it. So I believe that working with these ideas, there's very little or no downside, so long as we're also aware of the negative things that can happen. We need to be aware of things, yet focused on what we want. I see infinite upside potential with these ideas. Remember, imagination is the preview to life's coming attractions.